Is it time? Yeah, it's time. Welcome to the True Craft Podcast. I am your host, Chris Farman, and I'm joined by co-host, Katie Noel. This time around, we are all about one thing: killer conversations with close friends about the state of craft. Oh, it's gonna be good. I hope to open the box on fresh topics while honoring the path that got us here. Let's do it. And we are back for another episode of the True Craft Podcast. Today, I'm joined by the one and only Katie Noel. Welcome,
Alexis.
Katie.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. And our guests today is a unique business and a unique brewery that we're very lucky to work with and be close to, out of Vista, California, Dogleg Brewing, and we have with us Nick and Christine Lumsden.
Lumsden.
Lumsden, got it. Nailed it on the third time. Okay. Welcome, Nick and Christina.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, good to be here. Watch a bunch of y'all's content and excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So you guys have a unique story, and that's why we want to talk to you today. You have a unique value prop. Can you give us a little history of Dogleg Brewing and kind of what makes you unique? What makes you unique? And then we're going to get into that whole thing.
Yeah. So our brand is basically built around craft beer and golf. We're at the core, we're golfers who met through craft beer. We've been playing golf our whole lives. We're passionate about it. And for us, this is a common passion we share to bring these two elements together in a way that we saw hasn't really been done before.
Mhm.
It's being in Southern California. Obviously, it's the weather is decent year round. We're at the epicenter of a lot of the worldwide golf industry, and people come from all over the world to play golf and experience the San Diego craft beer scene. So for us, this was just a combination of two things that seemed obvious, but and we wondered why this hasn't been done before, and we saw it as an opportunity. Although we definitely have experienced quite a bit of unexpected obstacles along the way. So it's been a fun challenge though.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about the name Dogleg and does it have a golf connotation? Yeah, tell us about the name.
So dogleg is a term in golf. If you're looking at a aerial course or a map of a course, and when the hole turns, it dog legs left or right. So it's a very common term among golfers. But we also kind of like the name because it's subtle enough. It's not an in-your-face golf term. It's not like hackers or mulligan or like I don't know, you know,
Sure.
iron golf or something. Yeah, so we didn't think it would detract, someone who's not a golfer from coming to our brewery because we're not trying to isolate anyone. But somebody who is a golfer is like, whoa, they understand it right away. And you can't go wrong with having dog in your title, especially in Southern California, because everybody's obsessed with dogs, as are we.
Sure.
So we actually designed the logo after one of our dogs. So it's
that.
the trifecta for us, like a perfect day is golf, beer, and dogs. If we can have all three in one day, it's kind of, perfect day for us.
Do either of you come from the golfing back industry? Golf. Okay,
Well,
tell us.
Yeah.
excuse me, we both met playing golf back in college. And we've both been involved in the game in our entire lives. I worked in the golf industry prior to us opening up the brewery.
Got it.
He just plays a lot.
Yeah, I've been playing competitive golf since I was a kid, and we share a common passion for it. One of the main reasons we moved out to San Diego was to be able to play golf all year round.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think San Diego weather and where I'm in Jacksonville, Florida are very similar. I think you guys have it a little nicer than we do. It gets pretty musty here in the summer and humid. Do you guys have a ton of humidity in San Diego?
No, it's dry heat, and
Yeah.
you say it gets hot, and it's 82 degrees. When you say it's cold, it's 64 degrees. So it's pretty pleasant.
That's perfect. That's
Yeah,
freaking perfect.
it's good.
So could we label your brewery as like a niche? You guys have found a niche?
Yeah. So, and this is something that we focused on. We've put a lot of time into when we were coming up with the brand and the execution of it early on, is because yes, we identified this niche of craft, of being a golf inspired craft brewery, but we didn't want it to be openly obvious that we are basically a just so one-sided golf aspect.
Mhm.
So the way we built, I mean, as we mentioned with the logo, is kind of subtle with the golf club and the hops and the dog. The name is, if you're familiar with golf, you understand. And we kind of built out the tasting room the same way. It's kind of a vintage golf feel, 19th hole, sort of Scottish pub style meets San Diego open airiness. But so yes, we identify we are a niche and we focus our brand toward golfers, but not to the point that are we definitely want to be accommodating of everyone, and we want to. I mean, our main focus is beer. We're first and foremost a brewery, so we're definitely focused on the beer aspect. And so our goal here is to really, we see this big diagram, a big circle of craft beer enthusiasts on one side and a big circle of golf enthusiasts on the other side. And there's this little overlap in the middle of this Venn diagram that kind of where we sit. But our goal is to expand the golf market by exposing kind of getting the craft beer enthusiasts to have a fun way to start playing golf. And then from the craft beer side, we want these golf enthusiasts to be exposed to some of the lighter styles of beer that are well made, focused on quality, that are typical for a long day out on a hot golf course.
Yeah. That's awesome. I feel that so many breweries just open their doors and say, hey, we're open. We serve everyone. And it sounds to me like you did the same, but there was a little more thought in it. There was a little more thought in aligning your lifelong passion with craft beer, bringing those two together. And Katie and I talk a lot about like developing this culture, developing this experience at the tap room, and how customers can feel it the minute they walk in. Is it a tie fest, right? Is it a suit fest, or is it are these owners passionate about cycling, or in your case, are they passionate about golf, which totally fits the geography of where you are and the your background and everything. So yeah, kudos to you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you. And I think when we were first, coming up with the concept for the brewery, and we were doing all our research and going to other places around uh, San Diego County, we did notice that there were other breweries that kind of had similar, just niche concept, regardless of what the topic was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that only solidified that, okay, we're doing something right. Like we're heading in the right direction with kind of having a focus rather than just casting the net to every beer lover in the area. So that
Yeah.
that definitely helped, solidify like, okay, we're on the right track.
Yeah. Was that a super intentional decision for you guys right out the gate? Or would you say like it just kind of happened that way? And how important do you think that is for anyone maybe listening who is opening a brewery? Like how important have you found having your like specific target audience to be?
Well, so I think in San Diego, it might be each like city and region might be a little different. But for us here in San Diego, I mean, when we opened in 2019. We came up with the concept a couple of years prior. But by that time, I mean, the San Diego craft beer scene is super mature. I mean, we had over 200 breweries at that time. I don't know what the number is now, but there's a lot. So there's there. I think for us in particular, it wasn't a viable business model for us to say, let's just open up a brewery and leave it at that. Although, I mean, our focus is still on craft beer and we're proud of our product and everything, but we knew and we saw the trends from these other breweries in the area that you're starting to see others. So you need something else. Whether it's the good food or activities to do or certain themes or engagement in the community or whatever it is. There needs to be there's more than the most successful breweries we saw around here. Definitely had something more than just a production facility and tasting room. And so that's kind of what where we saw that as now this concept being a viable business model, as something with a lot of opportunity and something that we could put time and focus and develop industry partners and attract the local community and the crowd of this wildly popular hobby and sport of golf at the time. So yes, I mean there's definitely focus on that, and it was a major decision and factor in kind of why we pulled the trigger on starting the business.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Nick. Being in a market like San Diego, which is just, there's Asheville, there's Colorado, there's San Diego, there's the Pacific Northwest, but I feel like those three spots are such competitive beer markets, and the consumer, the breweries, they're all on their A game. You being able to put that, kind of finishing touch on the branding and the beer was very smart and very important to stand out in such a crowded market.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think, oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think you have to ask when you're in one of those mature markets, like what is going to set you apart? Like if you're opening a brewery in a climate like that, why should anybody show up? And you need to have a damn good, compelling answer if you want to be successful right now.
well, and I mean, there's pros and cons to that. I mean, fortunately, the San Diego craft beer scene is super collaborative and cooperative, and we lift each other up. And I mean, our main goal is let's take some market share from big beer. So there's a lot of coming together to kind of make each other better. I mean, in fact, we have three breweries, us and two other breweries on our street within 400 yards of each other. So, and we're great friends. We work together a lot, and we share all sorts of raw material, and it helps us all out. So, like there's definitely some benefits to having a crowded market, but at the end of the day, we need to do our share, and we need to make sure that we're attracting customers and business through our doors and into our tasting room.
Yeah. So Katie, you keep mentioning breweries opening, right? New breweries opening and taking this approach. I'm going to kind of flip that around and say there aren't a whole lot of breweries opening these days, but there are a lot of breweries that are open that may be looking to revamp or redesign the experience the tap room. Do you guys have any tips or suggestions on how a brewery would begin to hone in on a niche and make it feel authentic?
Yeah, I think that authenticity comes from whatever it is you're passionate about, and creating events around that. If you see our packaging and all that stuff, that's also, you see it as soon as you see the product. You're like, okay, we know what the focus is here. And yeah, especially creating those events, within those events, putting that out on social media and those things, and your community will start to form for sure. I mean, people will come through our doors, and like you said, they understand the brand right away, and they're excited about it. So people like to be in that space where they have like-minded community surrounding them, or maybe finding new friends. Maybe you're new to that area and you're like, man, I love golf and I need to find people to play golf with, and they find out about our brewery, and we have events where we have a golf simulator, we have games on there. So now you're starting to build this group of people that start congregating in your place on a regular basis because they're trying to find those those friends.
I think to add to that, I would say it's like just make it real. Like it's got to be real. It can't be something that you're just trying to chase dollar bills, because chances are it's going to take a while for that to happen, and the market is going to have to realize and perceive that what you're doing is real and passionate, and then also just like don't be afraid to reach out and to establish partnerships and work with the community, because chances are, even if it's something that you think is a crazy combination of ideas, if you're thinking it, there's probably other people that would love to see it too. So I think there's always market for new fun combinations of initiatives and industries and things, and we've seen all into the spectrum of some places that are doing far crazier concepts than we are, and they're busy, and they have I mean, they're people come from everywhere to experience that. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in that sort of thing.
Yes, I agree. So random question, do you have regulars?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes,
Do
we
you?
have one.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
And
This, go
sorry,
ahead, Christina.
I was gonna say it's been really rewarding to see people that were complete strangers when they first started coming to our brewery. Now they're good friends of ours, and not just that, but they have created friendships with other people within the space that they otherwise would have never met each other. And that's probably one of the coolest things about being kind of your neighborhood bar, but with focus, is that it draws in these people and then they start building these relationships with each other. And now those regulars are, going to each other's weddings or birthday parties or planning trips together. And we're like, we played a small part in that. That's pretty cool.
And I think the other thing about the regulars here is that a lot of bars to be a regular at, you see those your regulars with each other at the bar. But for us at Dogleg, now those regulars are all kind of brought here for, I mean, a lot of them for the common affinity of golf. And so a lot of them get to know each other, and then they take that one step further and they go out and play golf together. So it's a little more about kind of developing those relationships with the customers and the customers developing their relationships with each other. That kind of really helps solidify them coming back and being a big loyal part of keeping Dogleg, the tasting room, busy. And I mean, we have a simulator, and we do a simulator digital golf league, and those participants in that digital golf league are now best of friends, and they're so excited to show up for those Tuesday and Wednesday nights to play golf together. And that's translated out to spending time out on the golf course playing together and enjoying beer together. And so that's the cool aspect about it, is that it's not just sitting there thinking about the beer, focusing on the beer, and talking to each other. It's like now we can have some engagement, we can have some interaction, and go out and have some activity and some movement, and things to keep each other engaged.
The regulars question has come up because as of late, I've been talking to a lot of brewery owners in different markets, large markets, right? Large. Yeah, when I say large markets, I mean like the bigger cities. And every brewery thinks that every other brewery has like a group of regulars on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, but it turns out they don't. The regulars are far less than what they thought. And so I would imagine over time and investment and word of mouth, you guys would actually have solid regulars that are just like, we've got to go to Dogleg.
Yes.
Got to finish the day. We got to start the day, whatever.
We also have mug clubs, and two different. I mean, kind of
Okay.
one that's more focused for beer drinkers and one that's more focused for golfers. And so the mug clubs definitely, I think, help drive that loyalty. We have an app so people can redeem perks through our app, and notifications and everything that way. So it really kind of keeps everyone in the loop on what's going on, gives them a reason to come hang out, and making sure that they're redeeming their perks that have a limited lifespan on them. So that's been something that's helped too.
Well, and there's definitely challenges from a marketing perspective. Like our space it's in an industrial park, business park, and it's a little tucked away. It's so close to a main street, but yet just far enough away that it's not visible to anyone necessarily. You have to know where to look. And so in the sense that, we don't have regulars every single day that are coming in on a consistent basis, we work extremely hard to market, to find those customers, to bring them in. We don't just expect, all right, we're just going to open a brewery, open our doors, and the people will come. One of the things that changed that was COVID. We were like, okay, we're going to be in this business park area. Those office buildings are full of employees that are after work. They're going to look for their local watering hole. Well, after the pandemic, a lot of people left those office spaces to just commute telecommute. And so it's like, all right, well, now a lot of those buildings are vacant. Now we have to work even harder to create those events, create that community, give them a reason to come back to our brewery on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So it's definitely something that we're hyper cognizant of, to just continue to get creative on, because they're still there and they'll still come, but we have to work for it for sure.
And it's funny you mentioned community, because as you were describing a minute ago, kind of the trends of people coming in and having the different like golf things that you do, it really feels like having a niche is cultivating a certain community. It's making sure you're marketing to a certain community, and there's so many breweries who like are saying community on their website as their like focus, but you have to actually take steps to pursue that. And I think having a niche is what that looks like after this conversation with you guys.
Yeah, and it truly was. I mean, golf is just something we've always been before we were ever beer drinkers. Um, we golfed since we were little kids, so that was just kind of part of the fabric of our being. And you could apply that to anything, whether you're a book lover, the people are searching for book clubs and, those communities to be part of. Pickleball. I mean, you name it, horse lovers or whatever. I mean, it could literally be anything. And those communities are out there and they're searching for just a reason to gather and get together and celebrate that thing that they love.
Sure. And you guys mentioned marketing a minute ago. What kinds of things are you doing, or what's your strategy when you're thinking about connecting people to Dogleg?
Yeah, so we do have a golf. Some of our amenities within our space are definitely helpful in attracting people. Like we do have a golf simulator. So again, we didn't just plant the simulator there and expect the people to come. We still create leagues. We create events around it. We'll partner with nonprofits if they want to host an event here, or local business groups. So just a wide variety of different golf related events that we can do, whether it's on premise or off premise, to just kind of grow the brand and show people that that's really what we're about.
Yeah, and one of the nice things with having this niche and involvement and relationship with the golf industry and the golf courses is that kind of then targets our marketing initiatives accordingly. So we're not necessarily having to cast a wide net over the entire community or over all of San Diego advertising our product. We can go specifically to these golf courses and know that the people there are exactly the people that would be attracted and our brand would resonate with. So it allows us to be a little more precise and targeted from a cost perspective in the marketing endeavors. And same thing, that's why when our distribution, I mean, it's not cheap and not easy for a small brewery to package beer, but 75% of our distribution is in 16-ounce cans that goes to golf courses. Knowing that those people holding these cans on the golf courses are far more likely to look at it, read our story, look us up on Instagram, on Facebook, on social media, and find where we are and come visit. I mean, everything for us revolves around tasting room. So whatever we can do, whatever we can send out there and get back is all focused on how does this contribute to our tasting room business.
I think you just answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And it's, how do you navigate the balance between like getting your brand out there and investing in like going out versus bringing, like, drawing people into your tap room? You kind of spoke to that, but I want to hear more.
And this is where I kind of like referred earlier to how important it is to have a business plan and revert back and kind of refer to your business plan whenever, as you grow and as you start to make decisions, because it is easy to lose sight of that and just to say, oh, a bar 20 miles away wants the beer, let's send it to them. But at the end of the day, then, I mean, now we're driving there, we're picking up the keg, we're putting a tap handle, cleaning lines, doing all this stuff. And for a small brewery our size, we realize that juice is not necessarily worth the squeeze in a lot of situations. So for us, it's about, okay, what does our business plan say who we are, and what's our vision, what's our mission, and looking at that to be kind of the compass, the barometer of how we can now make a decision to support. And for us, that's tasting room. And so how can we send our product out with the goal of it bringing people back in? And so that's where it kind of becomes selective with us of what accounts, how we do our distribution strategy, our sales strategy, and who we work with. And for us, that we've found the biggest return to be with golf courses.
That makes sense.
It makes complete sense. 16 ounces are the hot size on a golf course. I
would say it depends. It all depends on the golf course. We toyed with the idea of also having 12-ounce cans. When we made the decision to use 16-ounce cans, it was a COGS sort of decision, a profit margin based on what we knew we could sell 16-ounce cases for versus what we knew we could sell 12-ounce cases for.
Right.
So that was kind of what drove that scenario. There have been courses that would say, oh, we don't carry 16-ounce cans. There's been others that would say, oh, we'd buy more if you had 12-ounce cans. So that's something that we're kind of keeping in the back of our mind. I mean, our packaging line will adjust to 12-ounce cans, so that's not a problem. But I mean, you're talking now different printed cans, different inventory, like all this. So
Yeah.
We haven't basically we've been doing 16-ounce cans because the margins are better on them, and it's kind of working for us.
Right. So I would continue to push the education. And the reason I ask is because when I think 16-ounce cans, I think stadiums.
Yep.
And I don't play enough golf. Maybe there are golfers that walk, the 16-ounce can is the value for the consumer.
Yes.
So all around it makes sense, but I don't know if the drink carts can hold 16-ounce cans, or if they can hold maybe 20-30% less, or
or they just figured they could sell more.
Most of them, they don't. I mean, it's not one way or the other. I think most people around here perceive and associate 16-ounce cans with craft beer.
No.
So when they're playing golf on a beverage cart, they can either get one of the 12-ounce commercial like big beer options, or a 16-ounce craft beer. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to choose the larger craft beer. There are from a retail side of things, we know there's a lot of situations where they would prefer 12-ounce cans because their margin's a little better. But so it depends. But we've found success with 16-ounce cans, and not enough of evidence to like get us to switch to 12-ounce cans yet. But I mean, it's possible.
Got it. That makes complete sense. Back to marketing. Can we go back to marketing?
Sure.
I think it's so critical in today's environment, also with what you are doing. How often are you repeating the Dogleg message? How often are you announcing that you have a simulator, you have these events, so on and so forth?
So we use a couple different outlets to get our message out there: social media, email marketing, within our tasting room, branding, getting out to different, whether it's being involved in our local chamber of commerce, but daily. There's no shortage you can't do it too much. You can't oversell your brand. I mean, because there's so many different breweries in our area, we definitely had to keep it at the consumer's top of mind, because they have to pass a lot of other breweries to get to our place. So why are they going to pick us over somebody else? And you're also fighting for all the other cool activities there are to do in Southern California. So what's going to set us apart that's going to bring them here? And they're getting inundated constantly from all different locations for something fun to do. So every day, I mean, can't do it enough.
Yeah.
Products, having new merch, having new beer releases, having some new things are exciting for people too, and give them a reason to come back.
Yeah. The reason I ask that question is because there is this misconception that we can annoy the consumer. We can annoy and potentially turn away the consumer, when in reality we see, large franchise commercials every single day, multiple times a day, right? We see big beer commercials everywhere. So the point here is that you guys have identified your market, you've identified your consumer, you want to be all inclusive, but the people that know about you and love what you're doing, but yet you're not letting off that awareness.
Yeah. And I fall into that trap too, where because I do the majority of what I do is marketing for Dogleg, and as a consumer, sometimes I'm like, well, I don't like to be bugged with too many notifications or email blasts or whatever. Am I going to be doing that to our customers to the point where it's going to be a turnoff? But at the same time, I think there's just so many everyone as a consumer chooses how they get their information. And we started doing we have an app now for our brewery
Oh, nice.
where, yes, so you can get rewards on there, it's to build that loyalty with the customer, and you can do push notifications. And for a while I was kind of digging my feet in, like, I don't want to send out too many. And I've talked to some of our customers and they're like, well, if I'm getting too many of the pop-up notifications, I just turn off my notifications. So I think they'll find their own way to, turn off the messaging if they feel like they're getting too much. But there's plenty of people out there that are reading those messages, accepting them, looking at them. So you can't do too much.
I feel like one thing we still experience, we've been around for 4.5 years now, is that there's people half a mile down the street that will come in for the first time and say, I didn't know you guys existed. Like, I just stumbled across it. My friend told me, whatever. And so to us, that means, all right, there's still more marketing to be done and more frequency and more angles of approach and mechanisms to use. So it's until you saturated the area around you, I think there's always more to be done.
Yeah, I agree completely. Christina, do you have any metrics or ROI calculators that help you with calculating marketing, or like what's your methodology behind it?
A lot of it is, I will admit, a little bit fly by the seat of my pants.
Okay.
So we're working on that. But we do measure, how many, through all the different channels that we're using, how many people subscribe to our list. And that's why we got the app too, is we have so many, the foot traffic, we didn't have a good gauge on, how many people were coming in and using some of these rewards that we have. So we're putting these tools into place to help us better measure,
Yeah.
track, how many customers are coming in, how many are downloading the app. We can see that it's easy to track how many people are using those, putting that signage in our tasting room, putting it on postcards,
Yeah.
to better track, okay, we're putting the information out there, how many people are taking advantage of it and using it to come back to our space. So it's definitely a challenge, but it's helpful to know, these emails that we send on a weekly basis, how often are people coming back and actually, taking advantage of the event that we put out there, or, the promotion that we put on to use our golf simulator and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point because, I mean, with what we're doing being kind of unique and interesting to a lot of people, we definitely need to. I mean, marketing has always been, I wouldn't say it's tricky, but it's been like we haven't done as much of it as we think we could. I mean, you're looking at the marketing team right here, so
Right.
it's like we definitely need to put more focus on it. So it's one of those things that you like it is sometimes hard to gauge that ROI, and there's other things in the brewery that we do have a firm gauge of the ROI on. So sometimes that the marketing side of it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But it's definitely been discussions and something that we're focusing on moving forward.
Got it. Awesome.
That's cool.
Go ahead, Katie.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's cool to see you guys wrap up multiple passions into the same business model. And I like am certain that has led to some of your guys's or most of your guys's success. Like that kind of care for what you're doing and what you're putting out into the world. Like that's people feel that and people see that and people want to be part of that. And so I think that goes towards the niche thing again. But yeah, it's cool to hear from you guys in more detail about Dogleg and everything.
Well, and we started this business probably for the same reason a lot of other breweries start their business is, we maybe were stuck in our job where we weren't completely fulfilled in what we were doing. So we're like, well, what do we love doing all the time? We're like, we're always golfing, and we're always, I mean, mostly I was drinking the beer, he was brewing the beer. So it's like, well, how do we just do that?
Yeah.
And so that fueled our everything that has led us to this point.
And I think the other aspects of kind of what we're doing it'd be cool for other places to do this too, is that there's one of the reasons we saw this as viable is there's so many additional revenue streams that we have compared to the kind of the standard craft beer market. Like we have the simulator rentals, we have beer memberships or golf memberships, we have outdoor golf events. We do corporate parties with the simulator. We do happy hours. We like all sorts of things that, and mostly revolve on the aspect of having a simulator and involvement in the golf community that just have a few different little feeds into our bottom line or into our revenue stream that if something else isn't quite pulling its load, we have something there to kind of pick up the slack or vice versa. And that definitely helps us through some of the slower months that instead of just battening down the hatches and saying, well, we'll survive another January, it's like we can then focus on what we know people are still going to want to do, which is use a simulator and get involved and have interactive events and that sort of thing.
Got it. Okay. So wrapping up question, if a brewery is wanting and they have a passion and they have an idea to build or repurpose their space for something more focused, a more focused approach, would y'all be willing to talk to them if they could reach out and talk to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a passion of ours and we'd love to share it.
Yep.
Awesome. How would be the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Email.
Yeah. Email. It's nick@doglegbrewingco.com.
And Christina with a CH, Christina at doglegbrewingco.com.
Also, you can send us a message on Instagram at Dogleg Brewing Co. And check out our website.
I'll get to it.
I will link all of this in the notes for those listening.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. I really appreciate you willing to speak to somebody if they're interested, because I think it's never been more important now to get focused and to get intentional about who you are and who you serve, and could really benefit a lot of breweries out there, I think.
I will say that, I mean, we're still learning too. So anytime someone comes out to us, there's probably stuff we can learn from them too. So it's cool to get involved with as many people as possible.
Nice. All right, Nick and Christina, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really good conversation. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Chris and Katie. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Great to talk to you guys.
To you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the True Craft Podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player. And if you are just dying to know what Chris and I look like, you can head over to YouTube for a video recording of the show. Links to cool information about our guests and other fun facts can be found in the show notes. This podcast is sponsored by Small Batch Standard, the premier financial agency built to serve the craft brewing industry. We helped craft breweries grow profits through outsourced accounting, tax compliance, and growth consulting. Visit sbstandard.com today to learn more and request a discovery call.